What if I told you that we've got the procedure of getting rich down to a science, that as long as we think and behave in a certain way, obtaining wealth is inevitable? Well, that's the premise of the book we're going to be reviewing today, The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles. I consider this book to be the progenitor of all books that discuss wealth creation on a metaphysical level, especially when we consider the three books which I consider to be the Manifestation Trilogy, or the Law of Attraction Trilogy, which include The Science of Getting Rich, which is the book that we're reviewing today, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, and Psycho-Cybernetics by Dr. Maxwell Maltz. A lot of the concepts, such as the ether or the universal intelligence, instilling faith in yourself, and behavioral practice such as visualization, these ideas originated from this book, which was first published in 1910. So my TLDR is that even though this book consists of some pseudoscience that may cause you to roll your eyes a little bit, this book is still worth reading, if only for the positive brainwashing you should be doing if you want to get rich. And if you've read and enjoyed Think and Grow Rich or Psycho-Cybernetics, then you definitely should be reading this book to learn where some of the ideas originated from. So the mental model of the book is very clear. It consists of three parts. The first few chapters explains why you should get rich and sets up this expectation that anybody, regardless of his genetics, upbringing, intelligence level, can obtain wealth as long as he thinks and acts in a certain way. So now you're going to be wondering, what does it mean to think and act in a certain way? Well, don't worry. The second part of the book explains what thinking in a certain way entails, which boils down to the ether theory, which dictates that our physical world consists of a matter that responds to our thoughts, and that by repeatedly instilling faith in yourself that you're going to be obtaining the objects of your desire, you put gears in motion and eventually bring them into reality. And that's where this book diverged from another book that is also heavily influenced by The Science of Getting Rich, which is The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. You see, the third part of The Science of Getting Rich explains what does it mean to act in a certain way. So in a nutshell, it entails giving your present task at hand your 100% effort and strive to perform it as efficiently as possible while holding the mental images of where you want to be in life. Whereas the secret tells you that you just need to ask, believe, and then you shall receive, which removes your accountability and agency. And now that we've outlined the mental model, let's delve in a bit deeper, starting with why you should get rich. The author first establishes that desire of wanting to get rich is just, by arguing that all organisms desire to grow to fulfill its full potential. On a religious level, he states that God wants you to get rich so he could live vicariously through you. Now, I'm not religious, but if you're a pet owner or a parent, here's a thought experiment that parallels the argument. You would do everything in your power to ensure that your pet is healthy, confident, and happy, instead of being sickly and timid all the time. To further his argument, the author states our existence can be boiled down to three levels: mind, body, and soul. And each level requires money to fulfill its full potential. So for the mind, you need purchasing power to acquire books and courses, and more importantly, money that frees up your time so you can study. And for the body, you need money for high quality food and maybe a gym membership. And for the soul, which is enriched by love from the ones who are close to you, it requires money because love is manifested in giving. And here comes a brutal quote from the author. He said, "Poverty denies love because a poor man has nothing to give." So, in conclusion, the desire to get rich is good because God wants you to reach your full potential in your body, mind, and soul so He could live vicariously through you. So, now we understand why we need to get rich. Let's take a look at what's this certain way of thinking that can lead you to riches. And here's where the early 20th century pseudoscience kicks in at full force. Wattles is essentially saying that the physical world, at its core, consists of a single, irreducible, intelligent matter which he calls the ether. And since this matter is intelligent, if the intensity of your thought is strong enough, you can impose your desire upon it and bring whatever object of your desire into reality, hence the term manifestation. This concept is echoed by Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. Even the author of Psycho-Cybernetics, Maxwell Maltz, who was a well-educated medical doctor, believed in the existence of an universal intelligence. But in the year of 2026, modern science has largely debunked ether as a myth. However, rather than chalking it off as complete nonsense, I recommend reframing it as a way to hypnotize yourself with positively irrational faith in yourself. Let's look at the practice Wallace Wattles advocates. He recommends you to visualize the objects of your desire, cars, real estate property, etc., in extremely vivid detail, and do that regularly so you can conjure up this mental image at will. More importantly, while doing this, you've got to be cultivating a profound feeling of gratitude. As he puts it, having gratitude for things you don't possess yet is true faith. So instead of fixating on the scientific validity of ether, let's discuss the effectiveness of this visualization practice. Maxwell Maltz expounded the effectiveness of using visualization to expand your self image in Psycho-Cybernetics. A lot of the times, when we look at underachievers from the perspective of a bystander, they use rhetoric such as, I can't, that's not me. In other words, they exhibit a fundamental lack of faith in themselves, which visualization addresses. So the idea is to consistently visualize the kind of lifestyle you desire to the point where your nervous system believes that's the kind of lifestyle you deserve. That way you don't experience psychic entropy or waste time doubting yourself. You may ask, why visualization? Can I just read affirmations? Well, Wattles explicitly stated that visualization is more effective than verbal affirmation. It might has to do with the fact that over 70% of our brain's faculties are dedicated to vision. And Dr. Maxwell Maltz also echoed this idea and stated that visualization is the most effective way to create synthetic memories to expand your self image. So, just to reiterate, my interpretation of thinking in a certain way is that we need to cultivate unshakable faith in ourselves. We need to cultivate irrational belief in our ability to achieve our desired level of wealth. And we do that by consistently visualizing the lifestyle that we want in vivid details while having a profound sense of gratitude. And that brings us to the third and the last part of this mental model of the book. What does it mean to act in a certain way? And here the author is essentially saying instead of being opportunistic and hopping from one fad, one trend to another, you need to be focusing on doing your current job to the best of your ability. Put it this way, if you work a white collar job, instead of getting distracted by getting into day trading on day one, looking into speculating on crypto on day two, or thinking about starting live streaming the next day just because you heard it makes money, what you should be doing is to hold the mental image of your desired lifestyle in your mind, like we've discussed in the previous segment, and focus on performing at your current job to the best of your ability and be as efficient as possible. The argument is that an organism only evolves when it has outgrown its current station, its current state. If you stayed committed to a career path, over the years you're going to collect compound interest by accruing transferable skills and getting promoted. Whereas if you keep jumping from one opportunity to the next, at the first sight of hardship, it stops the compounding prematurely. And here I want to reference an analogy from David Data's book, The Way of the Superior Man, when he was discussing how to find your life's deepest meaning. Data stated that your life's purpose is layered like an onion, and at its core is your deepest purpose, the thing that will give you the most fulfillment. The journey of getting there is by burning off the karma of the surface layer purposes, by giving each temporary purpose your 100% effort. So to put everything together, this book paints a picture of a man who has a healthy relationship with his desires, meaning he wants to get rich not because of the hedonistic pleasures, but to reach his full potential. He has irrationally faith in his self efficacy. He is persistent and pursues his current mission with his full effort. So, with that picture in mind, is there any doubt that such a person would be able to amass great wealth? So, that wraps up my book review video for The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles. At the end of each month, I do a book review of a non fictional book where I present to you the mental model I've extracted from the book in a concise, no nonsense format. If you're interested, you could follow this series by heading over to blog.workforce.tech and enter an email address to get notified whenever a new book review drops. So, with that said, thank you for watching this video, and I'll see all of you in the next one. Bye bye.